I don't think people think about it too much.
The digital divide, it's a great buzzword.
We had students obviously who didn't have any experience with computers at all.
It's a rarity to find someone who isn't on the internet.
I mean, I think the general assumption is that everybody can access the internet. You know, that's just what people do. And when people say access the internet today, I think they think that means broadband access to the internet generally. So I don't think people are aware of it. Just a few years ago, when people would drive down into the Appalachian region of Ohio, I've spent so much time down there, people were always shocked how little cell service they had. And I don't think they didn't realize that cell service wasn't ubiquitous, even in Ohio. So, you know, I think the answer to your question is probably people aren't aware of it.
You know, out of 100 students, it seems like there's only about 4 or 5 that have any idea. So I don't think it's something that people have thought a whole lot about. And I think a lot of people believe that broadband is now widely available in rural areas. And it is quite a bit more available now than it was a few years ago, but there's still pretty large pockets of remote rural areas and also small communities, small towns that don't have affordable or even broadband at all. And there still is very much that affordability issue for so many members of American society.
Because communities that don't have access to broadband, excuse me, don't have access to the 21st century effectively. I mean, we do, on a personal level, on an educational level, and on a professional level, so much is done over the network today. And you cannot support those applications without access to broadband services. So, for example, if you lived in Brown County in southern Ohio and you were trying to take a distance education course at your local community college, which may be a 40-mile drive, you know, if you don't have broadband access at home, you can't do distance education on a dial-up. So effectively, you're closed out of an educational opportunity. You know, if you want to do internet banking, or if you wanted to buy and sell locally on eBay, you know, with a dial-up connection, it's a pointless endeavor. So, you know, whether you're talking about that or whether you're talking about a big-scale broadband project, like you're trying to develop a new plant in southern or southeastern Ohio that requires a great deal amount of bandwidth to be able to buy and sell from their suppliers and their customers. You know, without a broadband connection, you can't be in business there. So there are, you know, lots of reasons why communities who don't have access today, or sufficient access or affordable access, are really going to be left behind. And many of these communities are already losing population and losing jobs. So it's really, you know, and they don't have the physical infrastructure that more urban or suburban communities have. So they don't have the roads, waters and sewers, that kind of thing at, you know, robust enough levels. So it's kind of an opportunity for them to leapfrog and with broadband access.
These days, web pages are designed with the understanding that people are accessing those web pages through broadband connections. Certain types of files, if they're large enough, they won't download, or they'll fail to download over a dial-up connection. People, I don't think, have the patience to wait 2 or 3 or 5 minutes for certain web pages to download on a dial-up connection. So it's really a time issue as much as anything else. It'll take you far too long, I think for most people far too long, to rely on a dial-up connection, at least on a daily basis, for the sort of information that is available and typically provided through the internet these days. A lot of web designers these days assume that people have a broadband connection. People have asked that question for a number of years, and a number of years ago there might have been a pretty strong argument that the internet for most people was really just an entertainment medium. And for that, that argument still might be true in some respects, but it's become such a widespread entertainment medium and such a part of the everyday life of so many Americans that to have a certain sector of society, maybe poor members of society or people of certain racial or ethnic backgrounds not having access to that technology, even if it's still entertainment, it means that they're separated or unable to utilize a certain everyday service that many of us are now kind of taking for granted and rely upon every day. And not only just for entertainment, but also for information. More and more people are getting their news through the internet. Obviously, people use the internet for things like sharing information. Without a broadband connection, you can't download certain types of files successfully or not often, or maybe rarely, if ever. So there's a lot of things that I think people just kind of take for granted every day, whether it's sending a picture to a family member or finding out a sports score or some sort of medical information that is virtually unavailable without a broadband connection.